It is Sandy Spady with the Power Up Talk Show, the talk show where we bring together community leaders and amazing people that are making a difference in our world. Before we introduce my amazing guest, we are going to start off with Dion with Songbird Cocktails.
Hey Sandy, how's it going?
Hi.
All right, so today we're going to be doing something delicious and a little bit tropical and a little bit southern. It's going to be our melantini. Now to start this off, all I'm going to do is take this one piece of English cucumber. I'm going to drop it into the bottom of my glass. My next ingredient is going to be my Absolute watermelon. Now, Absolute naturally distills their spirits with watermelon, so you don't have to worry about this being an artificial flavor or having any additives. Our next thing is going to be our super syrup. So this is basically a syrup made up of citrus and simple. Voila.
I can smell the aroma of all like the melons way over here.
Oh, yeah. And next we're going to do just a tad bit of regular simple just to balance this guy out. And our last ingredient is going to be a melon juice. So this is both cucumber and clarified cantaloupe. And we're just going to give it a shake.
I feel like we should have swimsuits on.
Yeah.
Gosh. Can't wait.
And here we are, ladies, our melantinis. Sandy, have a good show, love.
Oh, thank you, Dion. Beautiful, beautiful. Here we are. Let's test this amazing cocktail. It's so pretty. Let's do it.
Do you need to change into swimsuits?
Where's that music? We need da da da. The beach music. One more sip, right? Yeah.
So good.
Audience, I'm very excited to introduce my next guest. Nora Plembeck is just an outstanding woman. I met her, actually, it was at a Women with Voices happy hour. And the first thing she said is, I have been wanting to meet you. I've been following you for over a year. And I thought, stalker. Great. It's a good stalker. I love great stalkers. She is the CEO of Argel Mindfulness. She's a professional coach, mindful coach on ADHD, mental health, and so much more. Welcome.
Thank you.
You look so sassy in your red. I'm very excited. Tell the world exactly what you do, because so much, 15 years of coaching with amazing people and changing lives. Tell them exactly, what do you do?
No, thank you. And just to note, she's the only person from a stalker that would be like, welcome. Thank
you.
Because I was stalking her.
Yes, I love it. It's a good stalk. Yes.
Yeah. I'm glad you.
Yes.
So what I do. So I worked in 15 years in corporate, and my role bounced around, but in the end, it was helping individuals find their growth, what keeps them going, and help corporations build empowered teams. I kept running into seeing so much magic in individuals, but because they're not meeting what the expectations is supposed to be, they're not feeling comfortable asking for what gets them to shine. And that's what got me to do where I'm at right now. It's going from the outside and helping empower them. And specifically ADHDers, I'm an ADHDer.
I'm an ADHDer.
See?
Right there.
The funnest.
Yes,
And
we are the funnest.
yes, and that's exactly what I want them to see. It's working on helping them see, you have magic. Don't take that away from yourself. So that's, if I would sum it up, I am a champion. I'm the Yoda of ADHDers.
I love that. And it doesn't have to be a bad thing. We have a great thing. So I publicly speak about your super strengths. That's one of my super strengths. And I was not diagnosed until I was 50. And I remember doing the questionnaire. I'm like, yes, yes, yes. That explains it. It explains so much. And you can take it as your super strength and embrace it. I mean, I'm never going to be great at emails. Just know that, people. If you send me an email, it's going to be very at the end of the day. But there's so many greatness of people that have this. And I love that you are bringing awareness of not a negativity of it, but an empowerment of it. Tell us more about that.
Because I really believe it. Every single person that I talk to from coaching, they always talk about the parts that is beautiful about them, the energetic, the part that everyone gets so excited about. But then that's the part they want to take away. And that's the part they want to tame under. Well, that's what's attracting people. That's what's making you shine. Why do we want to take this and tame it? Yes. And I refer to us as neurodivergent because that's how it's called. And it's a different way of thinking. That's all it is. And if that different way of thinking doesn't come into the mix, so many things are not going to be happening. Yes. And that's truly what to see it as. It is not, you don't like emails. Tell me, one of my clients said one time a thing that I've been using it as an example. She worked as an emergency room nurse. Wow. And she said, I walk in and it feels like the energy's out and I'm running. And the other nurses were having a brown bag and sitting in a corner. That's a perfect example of everyone has the surroundings that will throw them off, and everyone has the surroundings that's going to pump up. Yes. So it's a matter of knowing what the surroundings that are going to pump you up and asking for it. Yes. But it's not a bad thing.
Yes. Tell me about with younger. High school, I know you worked with youth. You love working with youth. Is there a difference of coaching high schoolers, junior high, versus adults?
Yes.
I thought there.
Yes. And my passion really goes to all of the transitioning. One, a lot of the times that's where they're going to start feeling it because they're going from a structured environment to a less structured, and that's where their creativity takes charge. It's no longer in their brain, it's actually taking the lead. But the beauty of it is that they're saying everything they're going. I learned so much from them just by how they articulate it in just the way it is. I'm like, oh yeah, that's actually very true. They're still not programmed to have to feel like have to translate it into something else. They're saying what it is, and they're believing it when you're showing them the magic behind it. And that gives me so much energy because if they start advocating for themselves, then the mindset will start changing because it's all a matter of a mindset. And I always say, how will we know what's missing if no one is asking for it? Yes. So if they ask for it, that mentality will start including that diverse mindset.
How do you feel that the schools are trying to diagnose or to spot a child that has ADHD? I mean, I went all through high school grades. I mean, I hated school too much. I got so behind that I just gave up. And thank goodness I'm great with people, right? But I look back and I think, boy, that's why I got so behind, and it just put me behind, and I didn't want to go any further. How are schools, or how do you work with schools on educating them to find youth at a younger age? Let's say grade school. I look back at grade school things to find it and to educate the teachers and the administration on that.
So one, by the way, what you just said about reflecting back and looking at school, I don't think I've spoken to one adult ADHD that's not the first thing they go to. It's like, man, if I had known that back, school would have been completely different. So it's impressive how that's always the first thought we all go to. I haven't started to engage as much with the schools, more from what I learned leaving from corporate is trying to be the middleman is not going to be helpful unless the the individuals themselves are asking for it. So obviously it's very helpful. I feel for the teachers because they're not given the tools to understand kids. So unless they have it or they have a kid that has it, they'll pick up that, okay, I need to give you some bandwidth. But again, they're dealing with 40 kids at the same time. So I feel for them, and they definitely are not equipped, but it still needs to come from the kids to ask for what they need.
Interesting.
And that's why my focus started on the kids first. Definitely in the future would love to be more engaged in helping, but it needs to start with the kids, because if the kids are not advocating for themselves, how will the teachers know what's missing?
But how did the kids know? Like, I didn't know. I was 50 years old and I didn't even know that I had a thing.
Well, one, you're a woman. We all got the short end of the stick on that. I mean, till now, if you go read the checklist, you're lucky that you got some checked in. Most women are going to get diagnosed as depression, or because it's not going in deeper. Some women have luckily found doctors that actually will dig in more to look at patterns, but a lot of women are getting missed. And the bigger part right now is like, if their kids get diagnosed, then it'll be like, oh, this kind of sounds a little familiar, and then they'll go get diagnosed. But a lot of women got missed, and that's a problem. Like the typical checklist that pediatricians give to the kids to do that, it misses so much. So yes, it's difficult to reach out to those kids, and it is truly have been fortunate that the parents of the kids that I've been working with, they care enough, even the parents that don't understand why there's a disconnect, they've been reaching out. And I'm hoping that those kids will start spreading it around. I know my teenager.
I was going to say, you have a son that's dealing with it right now.
I have two.
But,
So,
okay.
and the younger one was one of the ones that didn't fall under your typical checklist. So I didn't even realize it until I started studying it. But one of the main things that I honed on with my older one was, I'm not going to let you take the medication. I'm not against medication, but you need to learn your foundation, know what is your baseline. And then from there, medication, all the other stuff are a bunch of tools that you're just taking. And I'm hoping he's educating around him and more of even standing up for himself. It's, I'm not going to do this way, but I can get that part done in 5 seconds faster than you. And if you hear most of the kids with ADHD, they're usually the ones that get bored in class because it's so slow for them.
Yeah.
And then they get low grades because they can't get engaged because they're slow. But him being able to articulate that, I'm hoping as he's doing that, the other kids start seeing it. Yes, it's harder because of the stigma and it's easier to point fingers. But if more than one kid starts saying it, you're naturally going to relate to it. And you're like, that does sound familiar. This sounds calmer than what I'm trying to do.
I have a question. What is it that you think causes ADHD? Is it more of just hereditary? Is it experiences you go through? I feel like it might be a mixture of both.
So I will give you what I read in the books, because from coaching, I focus on the skills. I am the physical therapist that will help individuals find their way with their skills. So all of what I'm saying, full disclosure, is what I read in books, because you're going to find so many different opinions. The one that I'm biased towards is the neurologist, and it's a mix of inheritary and environment. So an example, diabetes. Your family might have it going around, but not everyone actually gets it. Same thing with ADHD. Could be going down the family tree, but in certain environments, it will trigger it more.
Nice. That's so interesting.
And that's why our numbers are going higher.
Yeah, and I think it's being like you bringing that to the light of just educating people what to look for. And I love, if you're not watching your Instagram, it's so adorable because it's everyday things. And hopefully when someone sees her Instagram, that they see that's me. Because it's the little things that you don't think of and you're like, that could be me. That educates. It all goes back to education. I love, no matter what, if it's mental illness, if it's, health, if it's anything, it's getting the word out with your voice on how to share that with others. Now, I know you have mental health, and I had mental health in my family too. How do you find that stigma of mental health as yourself dealing with it? My father dealt with it. How do you want to bring that light to our audience to educate them on that too? Because that needs to end. Okay, it's like a diabetic. They need their insulin or they're not going to live healthy, or they could die. It's the same thing with mental illness. They need medicine because it's something inside of them they can't control, and they need medicine. And if I could do anything to bring the stigma against suicide, mental health, domestic violence, any of these things that just need to be brought out into the open, can you share with the audience your journey? She's a great journey.
Yeah, because this is a very, very passionate topic for me, because it's sometimes individuals don't know.
Yes.
Like, we have a person that is autistic and all of the companies are going open team environment and will hurt them.
Wow.
Like 100 times, but they don't know.
Yes.
That's not what it's supposed to be. It's the boy that never knew that he can't see until he wore glasses.
Yes.
And that is the biggest part. It goes back to the people knowing what they need. I put it in a format right now. We have that no public literacy, which keeps putting us in the fear of the unknown, which the individuals just assume they're different. It really needs to start with each individual saying, I don't feel comfortable like that. And I feel like COVID helped quite a bit with that. But the irony is it helped because a lot of the individuals got their own space in a way that it started to feel different when things started going back, that they're speaking up more. Yes. But the idea is, if we bring that education in, if this is a general thing, and bring it in for real, not bringing in, hey, just so you know, there are some conditions over there and you have to tiptoe around them, you're still creating stigma. It's bringing understanding that mental health is a spectrum. It's just like physical health. You can have a cold and it can go up to a whole big virus, or it can stay as a cold. Everyone has a bad day. Some people will have it as a condition that it's happening more. So it's not unrelatable. And if we learn it that way, then individuals can start realizing, oh, it is happening with me more frequent. And I'm not just a bump or a sad panda that's always bringing negativity. And then they can start asking for what they need. But until we stop looking at it as, I don't know how to deal with it, because that's usually the first.
That's what it is, and that's why it's like my brother is 28 and he committed suicide. No one could say anything. They're like, oh, don't bring it up. I'm like, we have to bring it up, because it's okay not to know what to say and say I'm sorry, but we need to bring that up because suicide is huge, especially after the pandemic. And there's 2 women, that was in our Women with Voices in Lake group that committed suicide. And I'm like, we need to bring this awareness because it's not something to be shamed upon. It's reality of life, so let's bring it to the light. And that's what you're doing with your coaching and with your struggles and my struggles. We all have struggles. But when you bring it to the light, guess what? There's no shame there.
No.
And then that's how healing begins. Yes.
That's what Brene Brown says.
Yes.
Shame, you pull it out of the dark and you put it in the light. Yeah.
Tell us about your workshops. She has amazing workshops. They are just so informative. That's a word. I'm making it up right now.
ADHD creativity.
That's what we
That's
are
the
right
test.
there.
Yeah.
Yes. We make up our own words. It's called the Sandyisms. Tell the audience about your workshops, because I know you're changing lives and really helping people with it.
Thank you. I started doing it with women, and I focused more on women at the beginning because the whole everyone getting missed, and I built it where it's bringing in the material of education and coaching, but also giving that sense of community. So as you're going through, oh, this is why it's happening, and then you look around you and everybody in the room is nodding their head. I'm not that kind of different. I am fine. It's just this when it changes. And that's been truly the journey. And it's so rewarding how having that reflection and realizing that, oh, it wasn't just me. It was, I have high sensory. So when there's a noise in the back, I'm not going to be listening to anything. So my memory, I'm not going to remember anything. Oh, it's not that I am chaotic. It's once things are not in a certain format, that throws me off. And believe it or not, us ADHDers are creatures of routine. So it's the number one sign. And seeing that and seeing some of them start to actually take that back and advocate for themselves. So one of them in her performance review, she said that was the first time she stands up for herself. And no, my time management are not bad. You're not setting me up for success because this is how I operate. If I get into the zone, I am going to go in and hammer. You can't put me in, out, in, out, in, out. And she said for the first time, I got a nod and came up with a plan. And I didn't feel I'm walking out carrying like a bag of loser and walking off. I felt like I walked out advocating for myself. Yes. Another person, it's as simple as that. Her neighbors keep cooking and she has, her sensory high part is smelling.
Interesting.
And it used to throw her off all the time. And she can't like, it's like almost like, no, that can't be it. But it's getting her agitated and it's throwing her off with her kids. And when we started tracking the pattern, it truly had to do with the smell. Wow. And she was able to also go articulate that. It's powerful.
Yeah. I think mine are disco balls. I say a disco ball, I want to dance or sing. I'm like, disco ball, shiny. No, that I just have fun. Yes, that's what life is about. But you're right. There's certain things, you know, at jobs I've had, and they're like, you need to do 250 emails. You need to do this. I'm like, I touch more people at one networking event and have their names, numbers, and now I'm having coffee with them and meeting their kids. So don't even go worry about the emails, right?
Yeah.
You had to, and that's probably why I really wanted to start public speaking on having companies realize in their leadership teams that they need to let them do their talents. And that really comes down to ADHD, or it comes down to that detail-oriented person. Let's find that, make a circle, and it's called a great leadership team.
Which starts by stop fearing what you don't know.
Yeah, ooh.
It really goes
Can you
by that.
say that one more time?
Stop fearing what you don't know.
You don't know. That's a great quote. You better get that on Instagram. I love that. I love that. That right here, hashtag. That's your hashtag. Yes. That's beautiful. Tell us about that.
Well, we tend to, it's becoming a natural thing. If I don't know, oh, I don't want to offend you, so I'm going to tiptoe around you. Oh, you have your own different culture. I'm going to tiptoe around you. Same thing with the way of if you don't understand how a person does their thing, like, I don't know, I don't want to offend them, I don't know how to deal with them. And then you start making the person feel more rejected and you are not actually seeing what they bring to the table. Yeah. It's as simple as walking down to the person and ask, what can I do to help you? Yes. Can you imagine if every single leader actually does that and means it, not making the person feel like there's a booby trap and once they say it? If you're looking at it as, oh my God, you think differently, what can we get out of that? Can we complement if your difference shines?
Because that's when like a micromanager comes in, and probably an older demographic, because nowadays the young ones are like, they realize it. We're going to do what we're great at, and we're going to shine, and we're going to just take the world. And being able, though, I was confident enough in this particular job because I wasn't doing it for the money. I was doing it because I loved what I was doing, and confronting him. I'm like, I'm never going to do that. I'm never going to do that. Not happening. There's the door. If you want me to leave, I'll just, you know, it's really about being open to the possibilities of your capable, successful employees. I love that.
But you mentioned a very good point. You had an advantage that
You're right.
you felt you had your secure blanket.
Yeah.
Not everyone has that. They're thinking of, well, I have 5 mouths to feed at home.
Yeah.
I will put my head down and keep going.
You're right.
And yes, so there is a part where you.
I think in my younger years in advertising sales, you're right, I didn't. But I just kicked butt anyway.
Yeah, too. It was like one of those, I don't know how
Yeah,
to
it's
pay
like
the bills.
they're challenging on. But yeah, some people don't have that confidence, right?
Yeah.
And you working with them and coaching them and helping them is going to give them the confidence to have that, to go to their employees and say, by the way, I'm not really great at this, but I'm great at this.
Exactly.
Let's hire someone over there that lets it be in front of a laptop all day and just, you know, it's finding the superheroes' strengths in everyone.
Exactly. It doesn't have to be a rebellion or, oh, no, I'm not good at that. No, it's, hey, this is what I bring to the table. And so funny, we do all of these strength finders and I was a strength-based coach.
Yes.
But we don't really apply them.
Yes. Let's apply them.
Yeah, let's use them.
All right, I knew we were doing over on time almost because you're so amazing. I love you so much. You're so great at changing lives. Thank you for being my guest and for just loving on people. That's what you do. This is Sandy Spady. I'm so thankful for my guests and for my audience. Remember that it takes one person to make a change. All of us has a talent or super strength that we can go out and change the world. Let's change the world. Let's find our strengths and find strengths in others. Thank you again, Power Up Talk Show. See you next time.